Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, Bobby Ryan, and Jason York.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Brent Wallace alongside Jason York and Bobby Ryan. Nice to see you guys to finish off our positive week, if you will. No, you got to be positive to start the show at least.
I don't know. We're bringing on an Bobby. We got an ornery bastard coming up here. He's not happy with us.
Wasn't in the mood.
He's not gonna be.
Like,
Ryan
I can't
Dzingel.
wait.
And he may be gone by the time we get to him. One sec. Before we get to him, I want to take care of some business so we don't interrupt him because there's some great stories for him to tell us as usual. So let's get right to it, shall we? This show is always brought to you by Battlegrounds Axe Throwing. It's batlgrounds.com. No practice needed. Coaches will show you all the ropes you need. Great for family, couples, corporate groups. Listen, book a team building event there. Kids 12 and up can throw, accompanied by a guardian. Unlock the ultimate birthday party, team building event, or having a great date night with your significant other at Battle Axe Throwing. Booking now at battlegrounds.com. They're 2615 Lancaster Road. It's near the Science and Tech Museum.
And as always, our show is brought to you by our friends at BEI, the heavy civil general contractor in both the public and the private sectors. When planning your next project, consider them for your aggregate supply needs, which are equipment rentals, aggregate and topsoil sales, anything haulage and floating, and concrete formwork. You can find them at bonisherexcavating.com. Give them a shout at 613-432-1120. BEI is helping to shape the Ottawa Valley.
All right, gang, listen up. It's time to learn the pro pose. Coach?
Bend and snap.
Beautiful form. Nice arm extension. Facial expression. I could use some work. All right, let's see it. The pro pose. What's that guy doing?
I think that's the bend and snap.
That's a whole different deal. Charm, home of the pro pose. Oh!
Zinger could have been that guy in the commercial.
Yeah,
That guy's painful in that commercial.
without further ado, all the way from sunny Arizona, where it is 6:02 a.m. Ryan Dzingel, my friend, welcome to the show.
I was thinking about actually leaving because that would have been awesome, but I like you guys, not Bobby. But thanks for having me. Yeah, sunny Arizona. It's pitch black right now, so.
Hey, I gotta ask before we. Do you have an Instagram wall behind you in your office?
All right, you're making fun of me. My wife makes money. You know, I'm what to do.
Is that what that is? What does it say?
Zinger golf. There you go, buddy. That's my wife, and then a couple of jerseys over there. But
Is there a Sens jersey?
Excuse me?
Is there a Sens jersey on the wall?
No. I'm just kidding. There is a Sens jersey.
No, show us the answer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there it is. Top right.
That's the jersey that you got to wear that one when you got traded back there, right?
Yeah, I love that jersey. I talk a lot of smack, but obviously it was, I'm forever grateful to Ottawa. So yeah, I loved it. And
That was my favorite jersey. I never got to wear it.
Yeah, that was actually when I wore number 10, so it was kind of weird, but yeah, I love that logo and I love that jersey.
Yeah, I missed the black and the red one that the boys get to wear now too. I didn't get any of the good ones.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you wear; it's not going to look great, So don't worry about it.
Start with me right now, 6 o'clock in the morning.
You know what?
We've been awake the same amount of time, Ryan. I don't have it in me either.
I'm going to test how ornery you might be today. I see the Ohio State jersey behind you. Of course, you played at Ohio State. You did wear the fishbowl, which was interesting, but that's not my issue. I'm just curious, when you see a photo like this one, what comes to your mind? Yeah.
I lost a lot of money on that game, so I don't really care about football. But that guy didn't even show up. Penix Jr. I thought that guy was a stud, and he let me down. So I knew they were going to win. I just needed him to cover 5.5.
Oh man,
It's a tough one.
How tough is it to see Michigan as national champions?
Yeah, Ohio State was my most fun time I've ever had in hockey, and I made so many friends to this day. And Just remember, like showing you that photo, just some of the stupid things we did on the ice. Like, that was against Michigan State, and one of my old teammates was on Michigan State at the time, and that was a hat trick, and I was like throwing my head at their bench, like just being an idiot, because you could just do whatever you want. So the photo before that, I scored and I went by their bench and like threw my hat into their bench. So that was just being an absolute idiot, and you had no consequences.
Yeah, you don't have to answer for anything in college hockey.
Exactly. So that's why you wear that fishbowl. There's no consequences. So yeah.
Okay, so you threw the hat right in their bench.
Yeah, I scored. I took a slap shot. I literally remember this. Like, I don't have a great memory, like I told you guys before, with a lot of goals that happened in hockey. But I was coming on the left side, took a slap shot, went far right, and I turned around and like right to Michigan State's bench. It was at Ohio State, and literally right to their bench. I just like
Here you go, boys.
And then you get in like a little scrum, but there's nothing in college. So yeah, I threw my hat at their bench.
Oh, that's beautiful. So good.
Mackenzie McEachran told me that story last year. He's on the St. Louis Blues now, and he remembers ripping my chain off in a scrum. And I never forgot that he ripped my chain off in the scrum after I shot a puck after the whistle. Literally after that, right at their goalie, and then the scrum happened, and he ripped my chain off, and that was him. I'm like, holy cow, that's crazy. 10 years ago.
Oh.
So.
I can just picture 5'6" as Ryan Dzingel being a cocky little arrogant thing out there.
Yeah, you're such a nail gun, huh? I beat up Kyle. Congrats.
I took my visor off or my fishbowl off at 16. Never put it back on. Big guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I got to Binghamton, their excuse from Ottawa was, Ryan doesn't play tough enough. I'm an All-American with Johnny Gaudreau and Jimmy Hayes, but somehow I'm in the AHL, and they're telling me I'm not tough enough. So next thing you know, I had an agent named Eddie Ward, and he was like, you know what? Every time Pierre walks in that door, you fight. So like Pierre would walk in, kind of let his presence be known before the game. He would walk down in our locker room and then go up to his seats. So every game, I remember the announcer would be like, oh, and now our top goal scorer is fighting. So I would just try to scrap. I would just try to scrap because they told me I wasn't tough enough. Meanwhile, like Bobby said, they didn't have enough contracts for me anyway. Like, there's no room. That was just their excuse. So I started trying to fight. And my dad, I'll never forget it, texted me, hey, you're not tough. He was sick of hearing it from my mom. My mom was crying, and she was sick of me fighting. I'll never forget it. My dad's like, can you stop fighting? You're not tough. And I wasn't. I was just ducking and chucking.
Well, it's so fun. It's so funny in the minors way. Everybody knows when the GM shows up, Like and then it goes right through the room, and the guys start going. So as soon as you knew, you just fought.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of tough guys. Like we had Mark Frazier. We had some very tough guys. That was when like all the guys from the NHL started trickling down to the AHL, and so yeah, I would just try to find a guy decent my size and then just grab him whenever I could. So yeah, I remember like I didn't know what I was doing. No idea.
Going through their lineup. You're hand picking your guy right before the game. Hey, I get this guy.
Well, then it kind of got down to like people like thought that I was willing. So then I would get like the sneak, like not the like tough guys, but the middle tier guys that are my size, but are actually tougher than me. So then I was getting beat up a little bit, but eventually got up there. So,
do you know who your first AHL fight was?
Man, I do not. I'm trying to think. I know some of them. Like I know which guys I fought, but I couldn't tell you my first one.
Okay.
No,
I was curious.
Yeah, I remember me holding my hands like super weird all the time. Like there's videos and clips. I look like I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I'm holding my hands like that. I'm squaring off. Like I'm not just grabbing guys. I'm squaring off, taking my helmet off. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
When you went to Arizona, your first couple of games you played Columbus, you were fighting guys like Cam Atkinson, I think is one. Maybe not.
No, I fought Corrali, and then I fought another guy. But yeah,
and I was thinking, why? You just played with them. Were you upset with them, or were you just?
Oh, Corrali hit Clayton Keller a little weird. Obviously, he's our best player, and he's one of my good buddies. So I just threw an uppercut from deep down south and tried to put him in a coma, but I missed him, and I just fell over. Long this thing. If you see the video, I swung this thing, missed him by a good foot, and then we both fell down.
Banana peel.
Well, I remember like literally grabbing him, and you could see in the video, and I'm like, hey, you're gonna have to fight somebody, because I thought the hit was worse than it really was. It wasn't that bad, but he kind of clipped him when he was coming across the middle. And I'm like, hey, you're gonna have to fight someone, and you're like I'm a pretty good customer. Like I would take me over a lot of other guys on the bench. And he's like, yeah, you're right.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's how you get any fight you want, eh? Hey.
Yeah. I'm not that tough, man. You got me. Go ahead.
You got a pretty good chance here.
Yes. Well, Trevor Gillies told that to one of our fighters. I think I told you guys that story. He told us that one of our fighters, like, man, you look good. I think you got a good chance. You know, I like your lefts. You're telling some other guy that he's got a chance on you. That's nuts. But
Trevor
everyone knows that a chance with me. So.
Trevor Gill is one of my favorite people, man. That guy was crazy. Absolutely nails.
What do you're playing a lot of golf. Who do you play golf with now?
This guy. I love how you guys set him up. Like, you know, it's like the people who are watching this show have no idea how you set him up. Like, you're just trying to bait me into answering some of this stuff. So I'm playing with my boy Phil Kessel yesterday, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
What did you shoot?
They're going to call me if I tell you guys, everyone's going to call me a sandbagger. I'm a 5 handicap. I went 73-78. We played Whisper Rock and Arizona Country Club, and I made 8 birdies in 2 days, and everyone's going to call me a sandbagger now. So.
I didn't know you learned how to putt. But
I will slap you. You're one of the worst golfers I've ever seen. Like, you're ugly to watch. You got 9 country clubs and you still stink.
I have a terrible swing. My swing is terrible. Yeah, but I beat it around, and I never said you wouldn't slap me. I said you're a sandbagger. Why would I play a sandbagger? It's good. It does me no good.
Give you a donation. I need a little donation. But anyway, Phil. I've been training with Phil, and it's just shocking to me that he hasn't got a deal. And the dude's actually in shape. All we do is argue. Work out, play golf, skate, wrestle. Like, I've been messing with this guy as much as I can because he's hilarious. But it's shocking that the guy doesn't have a deal. 40 points on 12 minutes on a Stanley Cup team and Ironman streak, and then doesn't get a deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a little.
It's absolutely baffling, especially with a guy's name like that. Like, why wouldn't a team like the Ducks just sign the guy? You know, they have a bunch of distractions. You know, bring him in with a big name like that. Anyone, even Ottawa. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, the league is changing so much, and I feel like the GMs and coaches want to control everything, and he's a guy that, he's got a big name and a big personality, and who knows? I'm speculating, but it's actually crazy. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I thought he was done, Zinger. So he's actually out there.
Oh yeah,
wanting to play.
We train 5 days a week. We train 5. He's probably like literally we're running. 2 days ago we were running and we do cardio like 4 or 5 times a week. He skates every day we have a chance. We're literally skating with U18 teams, U16 teams. And for me, I'm, who knows? I didn't want to go to Europe and I'm probably done. But for him, 40 points last year on a Stanley Cup winning team on 12 minutes and an Ironman streak. And if you look at his hockey DB like Bobby's, it's just insane to look at. It just looks like figures from like a video game. It's just crazy. So
it's kind of baffling to me that he doesn't. Yeah, that he hasn't popped anywhere, especially now that you're kind of at the halfway point of the season, and you know what you're going to be. Like, why wouldn't somebody throw $1 million at him or whatever league minimum is? He's probably a veteran league minimum, Yorkie? So he'd be $1 million, I think, right?
Yeah. Bob, do you know Kess?
I've known Kess since we were he's 14. You kind of lose touch, but you play against him and you always say hello and stuff. But we were actually supposed to live together at the U.S. program. And then I went the other way and went to Owen Sound. I played World Juniors. We played Olympics. So we've always been around the World Championships. So, we're friendly enough. Yeah. Great dude.
I remember when he was a rookie, I was in Boston, and he was supposed to live with me too. It was the year he got sick. I couldn't believe because he was I gotta say fat. He just had the same body when he was a kid. Like, he looked like he was 40. But
I don't know why people get caught up on that. Like, the guy's a freak in the gym. Like, he's had that like he had cancer, and I'm assuming I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm assuming with your testosterone levels and stuff like that, with the cancer in the area that he had it, and removing one of whatever else it was, like it just sucks that, I don't know why that's even a problem. The guy's productive every single year, and the guy skates like the wind. Like, why you try to put him in a box with somebody else? That's why I have a lot of friends in other sports, and there's so much better in those sports than hockey at creating what the person needs. One of my best friends is the pitching coach for the Guardians now, and he was out visiting me. We were just talking, and he's like, man, like one of the best prospects had a great year last year. And they're like, what did you do? And I literally walked in and said, what do you need? And the guy was like, man, can you just leave me alone? Like the last 3 years, everyone interjecting something about my game. Can you just leave me alone? And when I'm doing something wrong, let me know. He goes, perfect. Guy didn't talk to him all year. He had the greatest year. It's like, why are you poking Phil? Just leave him. Like he's going to, so.
Who's winning in a race right now? Straight line, Zinger. You were Phil.
Oh, I'm an absolute cheetah. So, I mean, I'm back. I got the labrum. I was playing with a torn labrum and 2 herniated discs, and I'm healthy. I'm a cheetah again, But it doesn't help to score goals, so I don't know. I'm not too proud about that.
Other questions I have for you. One is you played golf with Rob Riggle. So I'm curious, what's the biggest celebrity you have met?
I mean, like extended period of time, he's probably up there. Like we did a TV show / like little series clip with it was my wife, not me. They could care less that I was there, but it was with my wife and PXG. And yeah, that dude's, he's obviously a high end actor and stuff. So it was crazy. He was he was a military guy. I think he was a Marine. Like his background was crazy. And then he just, like, he's talking like a normal human. Then he gets on camera and he's just screaming like, he shot him in the penis. Like just starts screaming. And I'm like, what? Like that doesn't even, it doesn't even make sense how good. I mean, obviously he's an actor, so it's good. But I mean, yeah, I hang out with more athletes. Like that's where I've always tried to hang out with guys like that. Guys that are similar to me. So yeah, he's probably the biggest actor that I've ever been around for sure.
He's an interesting guy. He spent a lot of time in Idaho at my place that I used to live there, and was starting to come up a lot when I was kind of moving on from the area. But he gave some speeches at like some military type stuff that Idaho is very patriotic in that sense. So there's always something. He gave some speeches and he's one way. And then as soon as he's off the camera, he's the most, or camera or microphone or whatever it is, just like a really down to earth, quieter guy, but just found a niche, I guess. Right. And that's exactly who he is on camera, but he was nothing like that off the camera.
Yeah. He was cool. Like we did like a couples playing together series, and he would like bring guys out. Like he brought Brian Urlacher, football player. He brought a couple Marines. He did a couple other things, and we just got to play a couple holes with them. And you see how good they are. Like even my wife, like there was like golf carts everywhere, right, with cameras everywhere, and I like didn't even I don't know what to do with my hands. Like from that one movie, like I'm like sitting over here. I was so awkward. Like if you watch the clips, like you probably wouldn't know, but Bobby could tell because I've been around it for so long. I was just so awkward. Like these guys are so good. It's one take, and like he just makes things up on his head, and like they have a script, and then he just makes it up. I'm assuming he has it queued up, but yeah, these guys were awesome. I mean, it was a cool experience. We went to Scottsdale National, which is like $1 million to get in. Like the course is nuts, and so the course was awesome, and he was awesome, and yeah, so it was a cool day.
Nice. Bobby's about to join that course next. I'm
done. I'm downside.
In 2014, you took a shot from deflected from Erik Karlsson into your ear. And I'm just curious. I don't know if I've ever asked you about it because we saw it happen to Artem Zub this year. It's happened other times. Cody Ceci had his head almost took a Dion Phaneuf shot to the head where it caused stitches. I'm curious of what that felt like for you. It's the only time, by the way, Guy Boucher called you a warrior. So the quote from that day is, I'll be honest with you guys, what a warrior, because that was not pretty. Like this is multiple lacerations, stitched and restitched. I think the doctors had their fun with that one. So to see him come back was pretty impressive and actually come back and play hard. It seems like he didn't always play hard. It must have been killing him because that kind of reconstructed a huge part of his ear and the back. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, like It's crazy you brought that up. I was just talking about that with a couple of baseball players. We went out, had a drink last night, and they were talking to me like, what's the craziest thing that happened to you? And I took that video and showed them. And I think I got the whole front side stitched up, the whole back side, and then they had to reattach it. And I think his name was Dr. Chow. I don't know, Bobby could.
Don Chow.
Don.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This guy's the most amazing surgeon I've ever seen in my life. Like, he did my face too when I got slashed in the face, and you can't even see it anymore. Like, they said it looked like mashed potatoes, and I'll never forget that. I probably had a concussion too. So like, Guy called me a warrior. I don't even know if guys these days could even be allowed to play. Like, I was face first on the ground, out cold.
Wow.
Yes.
And I think I had 38 stitches or 40 stitches. And I remember I'm laying on the ground and Bob skates up. It's funny, it's Bobby. He's like, "You good, bro? You good, bro?" And he looks down. He's like, "Oh!" I don't even know what it looks like, right? And he's screaming like, "Oh!" And then I think Dom.
Nobody freak out.
Yeah. And then Dom comes, and I remember them touching it, and I could feel like my ear moving, and it was just like, they stitched me up in the first and the half of the second. I played the second and third period, and that was one of the worst. Like, with no Toradol, nothing. Like, it was one of the worst pains ever, because like I don't wear an earpiece like nobody does usually, but then they put one on, so every time I was skating or got hit, it would just rub against my ear.
Yeah. Plus the wind too. The wind when you're skating, like, that was always when I get stitched up here. Oh, it's brutal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I actually remember seeing that one, and then the Boro off ice injury was one of the worst I had ever seen. Were you on the team then, Zings?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Actually, it was when he hurt his ankle or whatever. I wasn't playing or something.
With me and Robin Leonard were there, and JG Pajot, and like, he hit an electrical outlet and sliced his leg, and it was just. I remember watching, like, I just, Boro too, but that aside, when you flipped over and I saw your ear, I was like, oh, okay, we're I was like, we're in it. Things like, hey, what are we doing? You guys want to go to dinner? I'm like, no, I can't. Like, you're scared the hell out of my 2-year-old. Hanging out with you.
Yeah, I wish I had the pictures for him before, because it said it looked like mashed potatoes, and then he literally made it look like. Yeah. There's a video on YouTube of how when it's stitched up, it looks completely normal. It just looks like a stitched up ear, and yeah, that was like a solid amount of pain too. Usually when you get hit or something happens, like, I feel like you don't remember it, or it's not that much pain. Like, all my other injuries weren't that bad. That one was just painful.
Chowser is unbelievable, but he I was like, bedside manner is not that great, because he's just like, here's what's happening. And I remember how many times I had to get shot up with the finger, and every time, like, I dreaded it. I had more anxiety about getting that needle in the finger because of how bad it hurt when the first one went in, to playing. And like, at that 25-minute mark, he'd just walk through and be like, "Bobby," like, just grab me on the way by. I'd be half just walking like this, and then he'd be like, "Okay, so today we're gonna stick it in here, here, and here," and I'm just like, "Go ahead." Brutal. But
you guys don't have respect about like how hard our game is, and football too. Like, being on the sideline or watching these guys play, it's like, man, sometimes I wish I played, baseball or golf, or you don't get enough respect for what you go through, and when you look back and reflect on it, some of the stuff is just nuts, Even by accident. Like, Carl never apologized. Carlson owes me an apology. Guy takes a slap shot right to my head. Like, what are the odds,
Carl, I will say,
should have been there.
It hit Matt Bolesky's stick.
Carl would have been like, "I was going in. What are you doing?"
Yeah, that's exactly what Carl would have said. Exactly what Carl would have said. The amount of times he hit me when I was standing in front of the power play, he's like, "If you had just moved, it's going in." I'm like, "I can't see the fuck, man. I'm just moving around trying to get in somebody's lane."
Don't they say it adds a little speed to it if it gets deflected, right? So I'm assuming that thing came off a little hot. So
yeah, it's heavy.
I'll
never forget the sound, man.
I got lucky though. So if you guys watch, there's actually a crazier clip. I took a slap shot to the head from Hoffman, and it's on YouTube too. It's actually crazier than this one. I didn't get stitches or anything, but I probably would have been paralyzed. So I'm in front of the net, and I'm looking, and they seam it. And I'm like, oh no, Hoffman, like he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care. Like he's just letting that thing eat. Like he doesn't know where that thing's going, and it's a missile, right? And I see it seamed, and I'm like, oh no. And I just go like this. I'm like ducking because I know I'm gonna wear this or it's coming high. So I kind of try to turn my head like this, and he took a slap shot off the back of my neck. It hit my top of my neck, and it hit my helmet. And you can see in the video my 1 and my 8 on my back of my helmet. My numbers flew off in the air. So they slow-moed it, and you could see my numbers like floating in the air. They're like an inch lower. You were probably, that's off your neck, 100 miles an hour, right to the spine.
What did Hoff say? What did Hoff say after? You get an apology?
He's a nice guy. He probably apologized, but
yeah, no, Hoff would have just been like, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
My bad.
Yeah,
that's what you get. They put me there because they want me taking that one timer.
Yeah, no, Hoff's a nice guy. He wouldn't have been, but yeah, he just lets that thing eat, and I couldn't see it. I didn't even think it got deflected. You can see that video. It's crazy. Like the last clip of it slows it down, and the 18 is just floating in the air. It's crazy. So,
I have a couple of questions. One is, you talk a lot about baseball. You were an all-state baseball player in high school.
Oh my goodness!
Just curious why you didn't go the baseball route. You're a handsome fella in 2010.
Absolute stud in 2010. But I don't know. I think I like baseball more, if not better than, more, if not the same as hockey. And I think my dad was a little too involved in my baseball career, and he knew what he was talking about too much. And he was a really good baseball player. He was a stud. And he went to Louisiana Tech, and I think he just was too involved. And I was trying to get away from this guy and do my own thing. So I think I chose hockey. He was always my coach, and he was always hard on me. But obviously, that's the reason I got here where I'm at now. But I think I was just trying to get away from him and do my own thing. I'd go 3 for 4. He'd be my first base coach. He'd be talking under his breath. Oh, what a terrible swing! And I'll never forget. We ran it because we had a coach that was from the MLB. It was crazy how it worked out. It was in high school, and he was a Christian dude, and he said he felt calling to come back to the school. And he was so high end for our school, it made no sense. To this day, it was one of my best coaches ever, Willie Bosk. And he ran everything like it was like we were in the MLB. When you get out at first base, you put your helmet and your stuff or your gloves and your whatever in your helmet and give it to the first base coach, and somebody runs your glove out. It's just little things, right? Little things that you wouldn't do in high school. Guys would just run in, grab bubble gum, and it'd take a while. Everything was to the T. So I remember my dad talking under his breath one time. I betted 6'10" in high school. I think I literally betted 6'10". I was one of the it was insane. And he would be mad at me. I'd be 3 for 4, and I'd roll over, and he'd be talking under his breath. And he was at first base, and I'll never forget it. I put my helmet, my gloves in my helmet, or I put my gloves into my helmet and went to hand it. He reached for it as he was, he's talking to me under his breath, saying something. I just threw it at his feet. He was so mad, because he went to reach for it, and I just chucked it at his feet. He was so mad. And his best friend was our head coach too, Willie. He was so mad, but they couldn't say anything, right? This is mid-game, and I thought I could get away with it. They were so mad. They made me run pole to poles after the game, and they forgot about me. I ran pole to poles for 2.5 hours, just 2.5 hours, because everybody picked up the field. And they literally, to this day, they said, "Oh, we forgot." I ran till it got dark, 2.5 hours, and just running. And it was still worth it to this day. Just the feeling to just give him that one. I love it. For all the car rides for 2 hours, I had to listen to his BS, about how. When my little cousin goes in the car rides now, I go to all his hockey games and with his dad, and I just go, "Can you shut up?" I just look over it. He doesn't want to hear it. Just shut up, right? I know what he's going through. I don't know how to be a dad yet because I've been a dad for only 9 months, but I know how to be a son. I'm like, "Can you shut up?" You don't know anything, As I try to get him going because I'm, all the car rides with my dad. Oh,
mm-hmm. Zinger, how were the hockey car rides? It was only baseball.
No, he was almost worse in hockey because that's why I wanted to get away and go to Lincoln. He was almost worse in hockey because all these dumb parents, right? all these hockey parents are nuts. So he probably just fed off that. He doesn't know anything. So he's learning about hockey and trying to do what's right for me, right? He was trying to help me out what's right, but he's probably getting taught the wrong thing. You know, that's what happens a lot with people. It sucks. They don't have the right opportunities or don't have the information correctly. And, you know, he was probably trying to do right by me, but oh man, these hockey parents sucked and they always thought they knew it. And yeah, we'd always be getting in scraps on the way home. Like he said his best speech ever. He was giving me a speech for like 3 hours. We drove to Wisconsin and home. And he goes, I look back, these guys out snoring completely. I go, you think I was sleeping? I go, you think I was sleeping? I was 12 years old. I was faking it. I was leaning against the window, praying he would shut up.
Hey, just a couple more years till your little guy gets involved, and then you got to deal with it all over. I just get it started with Chase. I go to the rink, I put a chew in, I go around the corner where there's nobody, and I am the most unapproachable person. And I know Wally does this too. I make sure I'm one of the most unapproachable people at a hockey rink. I kind of have a brood face that I turn on and go stand in the corner every time.
I have a tough time doing that. Like I need to learn how to just put on a face that says, don't talk to me. You know, I'm over here giggling all the time. And I don't want to be approached to. I don't want to do that to my son. You know, I want him to compete. Like if he's not trying hard or whatever, I just want him to compete, but I want him to figure out his own life, you know, let him do what he wants to do. So I hate when people are like,
we'll have another training camp. You come down with me. We'll go to the rink every day for a week and nobody will talk to you.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I just think it's funny when dads are always like, you know, he wants to do it. He doesn't want to do it. He's 4. He likes what you like. You know what I mean? If you take him to the rink every day, my dad's like, you wanted to play hockey. I go, you took me to Duffers. You guys are all drinking beers. You're laughing. You're giggling. You're having a great. How am I not going to like it? We're in the locker room with all of these dudes having a great time. Like, he's like, oh, you loved it. I go, you presented it to me. I loved what you love. You know?
That's right.
So, So hopefully I can direct him into golf, you know?
I don't know. I think I'm not sure it's any better.
You don't think?
Oh God. Yeah.
So the good thing about hockey sometimes is it's surrounded by glass. So you can't always hear the parents yelling. Like basketball, you're right on top of them. They're in a gym. You can hear everything. Or golf, you're right there. You talk in your backswing.
But my dad would go on both sides, right? He would watch wherever we were shooting. He'd go stand right by the net.
Oh no!
At the glass, move your feet. That's why I'm so fast now. But leave me alone.
One of the best things when I was coaching, there's this kid. I won't say his name, but his dad yelled at him every friggin' game, and finally the kid had enough. The dad's just barking at him from the stands. Finally the kid looks up, he goes, will you shut the fuck up? And the whole rink went quiet. It was awesome.
If I would have did it, I would have got my ass kicked. But
we've never known who you were.
Yeah, but I would have got killed if I did that.
Just do you ever talk to, I don't know who you may have as friends in San Jose. We talk about Ottawa struggling. San Jose's lost 12 in a row. Bobby, anybody, do you guys have friends on that team that have talked about what it's like?
That's tough.
No, but yeah, that situation was so weird for me, right? Like I've had looking back at hockey, like reflecting, I've had some weird situations. Like I told you guys earlier, I get picked up by them and it's at the deadline, right? And it's just like whatever, 8 to 10 teams that put a claim in, they're all going to playoffs and San Jose's not, right? And I get picked up by San Jose and I'm like, what, like why, you know? And I play 4 games or 5 games on the first line with Couture, play good 20 minutes. And then they waive me. I'm like, why? And then I can't go to somewhere else because the deadline's passed. I go, they didn't, you know, their GM was sick at the time. And I think it was just, I don't know what they were doing. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm sure there's a master plan involved, but sometimes I feel like these teams and these places just don't have a plan. Like, why would you pick me up? Like, it makes 0 sense. Like, we're not going to make the playoffs. We're not winning. And you got all the young guys you want to play eventually. And so I played 5 games. They're like, okay, we're going to call the young guys up now. Thank you for your services.
Thank you. Zinger, you're speaking to the wrong people listening about having a plan for a hockey team.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. My dad's been saying, oh, the sens are coming up. I said, okay, Bobby and my dad, settle down, guys. You'll see. I saw this writing on the wall. Trust me.
Zinger was actually one of the first person because I had them in the playoffs. We did a full show on this, and I was like, they're gonna make the playoffs. This is their year. And Zing goes, they're gonna be horrendous. I was like, you might not use that word, but you were like, they're not gonna be good. You knew it. He was one of the first to know it.
Once it's a full dumpster fire, it just needs an absolute reset. And then Bobby telling me Pierre's not going to answer my call. Then 2 days later, the guy gets absolute canned. You know, this guy's telling me, oh, he's not going to answer your phone call. 2 days later,
gone.
The whole thing's blown up.
I remember when you were talking about it when he used to go to bingo and like come through the room so that you guys would know he was there or whatever. Do you remember? And every coach that ever plays or GM that ever plays probably does this in Nashville. But remember when he was just a scout for us, but he would always find a way on the Nashville trip, like most GMs and scouts. Yeah. And he would come in and like say, hey, good morning, boys, whatever. And then kind of go over to he would pull that thing open, the fridge, and then slide a Red Bull up his shirt, like because he hadn't slept. We were like, we know you're hungover. Okay. You don't need to hide it. Nobody is judging you. It's Nashville. Nobody's
hungover.
Then he would cross his arms and be like, and kind of like walk out slow. And you're like, buddy, just take the Red Bull. Nobody cares.
Yeah. You know how I feel about this guy, so don't get me started. But
I didn't want to fire you up, but when you talked about the way you used to walk through the room, I used to think that because actually I've played with numerous people that have done that in organizations.
Hold on. Pierre used to sneak a Red Bull out of the fridge.
Yeah, and he'd be like trying to hide the fact that he was hungover. So you see the Red Bull like this, and then his hand would go around it. It would just go like up the big coat sleeve, and then he'd walk like this out. You're like, just take the Red Bull, man. Nobody cares. We're not judging. We'd be doing it if we were you too.
He's a nerd. Get out of here. Beat it.
I know you got to go, but you played for DJ.
7 more minutes. You're only paying me for 30 minutes. What's going on here? Need some overtime.
Bobby will buy you a golf membership wherever you want.
He's been saying he's going to send me wine for 3 years. I have nothing. Crickets.
Hey, I'm not allowed to have in the house. It's a big endeavor to go all the way up there to get it now.
That's why you send it to me. I'll hold it for you.
Yeah, don't try. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This week I'm sending one. I promise.
All right.
We'll see about that. Your thoughts on DJ Smith? I know you didn't play a lot when you got here for him, but what did you think when you got here?
Yeah,
compared to the other systems you may have played.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I try to be more, intentional with what I say, and I try to, think about what I'm saying. And like that whole situation was weird for me. Like I told you about Pierre, like one day I want to know if this guy just traded me back to, to screw me. But so I got there and I had the 16-day quarantine, and then everything was spiraling. I told you I scored 7 goals in 7 games or whatever. And DJ was always good to me. Like he was always goofing around with me. He'd always grab a coffee in the back, and I was at like the end stall. And he'd walk in, he'd be like, hey, Zinger, best 9 minutes of your life tonight. And like, it was kind of funny, but I wasn't that boys with him at the same time. So I was like, like he was trying to be good to me and nice and funny. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I'm at the midpoint of my career here. And like, I have 7 goals in 7 games and I'm not getting to play. Like, you're kind of pissing me off, but kind of being funny at the same time. So no, he was always a good guy. And you can tell I like guys that played, right? Like you gotta, he didn't get all the way up to he didn't have the greatest career, but man, the guy was a killer. And so I respected him. But I was just shocked how long I saw like the stat about him and the, other coaches that had the longest tenure or whatever with the team. And it's crazy. What did he have? 6 years or 5?
5 years. Yeah. So there was like 7 guys, and all the other ones had been playoffs or cup winners, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's just crazy. I mean, I think I was talking about coming back and coaching one day, and I'm like, man, all you got to do is get into a team where they're absolutely tanking. Like look at Bear in the Coyotes. Like his record is insanely bad, but they don't have anything. You don't have anything to play for, right? They're just kind of giving you this 3-year window, and then kind of after that, you're kind of screwed. You might not get another job because they look and say, "Well, this guy stinks," but you get literally 3 to 5 years of free coaching. Like, I don't know what Bear's doing out there. Like, he just gets to keep going like every year, and they're not trying to win. So it's just, I don't know. I think sometimes you get to a situation, and who knows? He could have been the best coach ever if he was in the right situation, didn't have this team. But yeah, if you look at it either way, either he got 5 years and got paid, or now, you look at him as a head coach and say, oh, he's not great. But at the same time, there's a lot of other things around him that were the problem,
But I will point out Arizona, just 1 point out of a playoff spot at the moment.
They stink. Watch this one. There you go again. You want to talk about, I live here. I don't want to get shot, but.
Yeah, no. That's the last question I have for you. You back in the day when Alfie was part of the organization as a senior advisor, you used to go to him and have on ice sessions. Do you think he makes a good assistant coach?
Oh yeah, so I don't think he really had working with me. He was working with Zinger a lot too, and I think the Swedish connection. And I was best buddies with Zinger, so it was nice. I get to just kind of listen to these guys and kind of go out there with them. And I didn't get to do that many sessions with him, but man, he's just. It's like Bobby, you just pick his brain, and they're at such a high level and played at such a high level. They see everything better than everybody else. When I told you Guy Boucher making me lay down on the ice about where to shoot a hockey puck, it's like, buddy, you didn't score 10 in AAA. I'm not going to listen to you. Alfie, just these guys being able to pick his brain, and it's all dependent on the guys. If they want to go get information from him, he's just so much information. So man, that's the type of. In the MLB, that's what they do, right? They get guys that played and they put them in the situation. Barry Bonds is the hitting coach. Why? Because guy's the greatest hitter ever. There's no shock on that. Why wouldn't Bobby be an offensive skill coach? In Ottawa, you got an offensive guy or the coach is an offensive guy. Or in Carolina, sometimes there was an offensive guy that was a D guy. And I'm like, what are we doing here? How simple is that to just, get a guy that was in that role? You know what I mean? And
yep.
I feel like they think that they can learn more things than actually know by playing. If you put Bobby Ryan into a situation with guys that want to score on the power play, their power play is going to go up. As long as they want to listen, he knows what he's doing. You put Phil Kessel with young guys that want to listen, they're going to be better. So yeah, Alfie is on Alfie. I could see him being the head coach if he wants to and killing it one day. It all depends on what Alfie wants, right? I think he's one of those guys. Same with Justin Williams in Carolina. It's what do you want? Those guys have been around for so long and do things so well. It's wherever you want it to take it and where you want it to go, it's going to go there. So yeah, that's a blessing that they have Alfie now, and it's going to help all those goal scorers a ton.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's hope they can get this thing turned around. I was going to ask you about which engagement photo shoot was better, yours or Bobby's, but I'm going to save that for another time. But can
you believe he fooled another lady? This is tough. What is going on? Oh my gosh. It benefits you to be wealthy, because I've been telling him he's ugly and he's just fooling people. I just makes no sense. Makes no sense to me.
All right, you're out. You're not making the
already. Now I'm warming up. Now it's almost 8:00 and now I feel good. You kidding me? Now you're
beat it. Beat it.
You told me only a half hour.
That's it.
See you, pal. I appreciate it.
See you, boys.
Thanks, Zinger. He was just Wally. He was just getting going.
Yorkie, you told
me.
Yeah,
I could see it turning though. It's all going to be at me, so we're good.
I know. I got tickets.
Still take shots.
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm going to see Madonna tonight.
What?
Taking one for the team, boys. I'm taking one for the team.
Guess there's nothing else going on in Stittsville tonight.
No, it's in Toronto. We're going to Toronto. It's a birthday party, so I'm going. It's
okay. All right. You flying down?
Yeah. Flying down. Then we're heading to Florida tomorrow.
What a life you lead, huh?
Oh yeah, lifestyle's rich and famous.
Wally, we'll hold the show together. I haven't missed a show in a while.
I won't miss. I'll be on from sunny Florida Monday, Tuesday, boys.
By the way, Tuesday, Frank Cervelli is joining the show. I got to get through a couple of things before we let Yorkie go. There was tons of stuff. I built a whole show and I forgot that the Dzingel is coming on. So now I got all this stuff I got to get through. All right.
Yeah. Listen, we said we were talking about that Calgary trade 6 months ago. That's old news. Everyone's on it now, talking about Lindholm and Uyghur.
I know you had Lindholm and Rasmus Anderson before everybody came out with it.
It's old news.
So, let me get through to today's hot and cold performer, which is brought to you by DoorDash, as always. Get everything you need, even at the last minute. Movie theater popcorn, anything you want. Just open the DoorDash app and enjoy a perfect movie night on your couch, or like I did the other night, get some sushi. Choose what you want from where you want. With Double Dash on DoorDash, you can order from multiple restaurants or stores in the same delivery without additional delivery fees. For a limited time, get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code NATION25. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store. Enter code NATION25. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms apply. The Sens finish out their road trip tonight in Buffalo. I'm going to pick Tim Stützle as the cold performer, but I will point out he does have 8 points in his last 14 games. However, and he does lead the team. He's tied for power play points, which happens just to be 3, and he is the team leading forward in ice time. But he has 1 goal in 14 games, and he's a team worst -12. The point I'm making, we need Tim Stützle to score goals. We need him to figure out a way back into the offense to figure out scoring goals, because that's what we need right now. He's on pace for, I think, some ridiculously low number. I don't even think it's 20.
Yeah, he's been bad. He just hasn't found any kind of rhythm, and he looks dejected. It's funny, you see him at the end of the bench every game, right? Right now with the face of a young kid that's just lost. We've all been there. It's ugly. I mean, just the simple play about giving up the empty net goal, that turnover there, like that's just things that don't happen to Timmy when he's feeling any kind of confidence. So you can tell he's shot. That being said, and it's funny too when you're like, well, he still got 8 points in his last 13 games, whatever it is, and it's like he's still leading the team in this, and this. But when you're just so accustomed to him being so damn good, that any kind of I guess slip in numbers really makes us kind of isolate him. But he hasn't, his guys around him haven't been good. Brady's struggling. So they're just going through it together. I have no doubt that they're going to pull out of it, but he's got to find something. I'd like to see him get back home for a couple games and get some rhythm again, home ice advantage. But yeah, and he's got 7 goals. He needs to shoot the puck more. I said it the other night on Instagram or Twitter, whatever it is, X now. It takes too long to load the pill, Yorkie. Like he's coming downhill. He's just taking too long. And I know he's trying to pick a spot, but he's changing the angle in a negative way too often for me. And then he's just laying it off the pads. Like I think when you're struggling and you only have 7 goals compared to what you feel like you should have, you start to make decisions slower. Yeah. Whereas his shot is so good. Just get that puck and snap that thing, man. Just don't think.
It's like remember Bull Durham? Don't think, meat. Don't think. Just throw. Just throw.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Sarah Marshall. Well, now you got to do something, but just do less.
Everybody, Bob, you know this. I know this. Anyone that's played at the highest levels knows this. When you are playing well, there's not a lot of stuff going on in your head. No. It's called the peak performance zone. And like I've talked to a lot of different mental coaches, psychologists. It's just the game just flows, and it's getting into that zone. When you get there, Bob, you just feel it, right? Oh, and yeah. You just play. It's like, I'll be a little bit poetic here. It just organically happens for you on the ice. Right now, he's got so much shit going on in his head. So to Bob's point, when he's loading that puck, he's like, oh shit, I got to score. I've only got 6 goals. Man, fuck, if I miss the net here. Like he's got to clear another baseball movie here, Clear the Mechanism, the old Kevin Costner movie there when he's the pitcher. And it's just, this game is so much between your ears. It's scary. It's scary. And right now, there's a lot of shit going on. I'll guarantee there's friction in the dressing room right now, because when you're losing like this, that's when guys, it naturally happens. And he's going to get out of it. But people thought they hit rock bottom last week. It hasn't happened yet. Like rock bottom might be, I don't want to be negative. They got the Sharkies coming up here. Like, ooh, like they, but to the point with Timmy, he's just, it's a mental thing. It's 100% a mental thing. It's not physical. Yeah, sure. Probably a little bit hurt, but so is everybody. And the unfortunate thing is he's an 02, which is a 2002. He's a young guy learning on the job in the toughest league in the world. And there's just not a lot of 200-foot players down the middle for the Senators. So You'll continue to see him make mistakes, and you can see Jacques right now too. He's frustrated. Like he's trying to get his point through. Like he is, he's at his wit's end right now. So we'll see when they get it figured out. But I'll say this, guys. Last thing I'll say, they're gonna have to make some kind of move because this can't continue. Like it can't continue.
So the management team, Steos, Bonus, are out on the West Coast, which I think we should just point out, I think is a veteran move because there's a snowstorm in Ottawa. So yeah, I would have gone to the West Coast too.
Hey, sorry, honey, we got to do some stuff in LA.
Yeah, hey, Anaheim, Tampa are playing. We should go check that game out. So I think it's a very smart move. There is, I know we're going to get to it. I have Wendy's coming up in a sec, but Jacques Martin said after the Calgary game, like you got a choice. Either you sulk or you take it and be a man and want to get better. I mean, that's the choice. Yeah. We've got some good talent. We just got to learn to play without the puck, be more efficient with the puck. We make it too easy for the opposition, which is exactly everything that has been said. Does this start to resonate the more you say it in the media, or does it perhaps go backwards?
I don't think it goes backwards by any means. I don't know. It feels like he's starting to try to single guys out with certain comments without saying their names. Is kind of what I took that one as. I don't know if that's agreed across the board, but I feel like he's starting to talk to some players that are sulking.
Yeah, we need to have more. Sorry, we need to have better performances from certain guys.
Yeah,
we're not talking about Parker Kelly.
No, he was good again. Ridley Gregg was very good in that game.
Yep. He's good, eh?
Yeah, he's a good player. Tarasenko was good in that game, I thought. At times, Bernard Docker was good. So he's talking to his high-end guys, and he's trying to do it delicately by sending a message in the media without saying names. But that is the next step, isn't it? That's where you go from there, as the history playbook would tell you, Yorkie.
Yeah, no, he's talking about Timmy. He's talking about Brady. He's talking about, like, I don't know, the last game of the neutral zone, I think it was the insurance goal that Calgary got. Like, it was just watching the mistakes that's going on in this game. Like, man, we could do a whole other hour on this. But no, Bob's exactly right. He's doing it subtly. He's trying to get his point across, and we'll see what happens against Buffalo, because, man, that's just like the vice grips are just tightening on these guys. They need something good to happen. That's the bottom line. That's the only way you get out of this. You need some, not luck, but you need the things to start. People don't like the bounces. They need the bounces to start going their way.
So I do have a positive before we go, and that is brought to you by Wendy's and our Wendy's Did You Know, which is the Wendy's Daily Faceoff Survivor Pool. Shots on goal, goals against average, points per game can make or break your week, but don't overlook the BPMM, Wendy's Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt. Sure, it's not easy it may not help you win weekly prizes with the Wendy's and Daily Faceoff Fantasy, but unlike your prediction, it never disappoints. So try your luck and don't push it, because the Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt is the only way back for a limited time. And if you miss it, you won't get a second chance. Sign up at thedailyfaceoff.com today, and sponsored by Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Wendy's, we keep it fresh. So here, I found positives. This team from the blue line has scored 23 goals already in this season through 36 games. They're on pace for 52, which would be the most since scoring 67 goals back in 08-09. So there's a positive.
There we go. Yeah. That's some goals.
There's no doubt when you have three guys like Sanderson, Chabot to a lesser degree, and
Chabot 0 goals.
Yeah, but just the way he moves the puck, right? But I'm saying,
but that's a surprise to me, that I would think if he starts to heat up as well. Anyway,
I think, you know what, Chabby's not much of a goal scorer. He, like, we've said that a couple years in a row. He had one real good one where I don't know what his high is 14. Or whatever, but yeah. But other than that, like, he's kind of been lower in the goal scoring. He's just a really good puck distributor, but at the same time, Chychrun's playing. I mean, that guy can play some offense. Defense, not really sure on, but man, is he got a good shot, and he's around the net, and
Docker's just throwing pucks, and they're like ricocheting off friggin' candy machine guy's head in the net.
Yeah.
Like
it's because you know what, he's getting karma because he's been good, and I thought he's been better.
He's not getting the stick lift. He's not getting the stick lift anymore, at least.
Last thing before we go quickly, it is the final game of a 5-game road trip. Ottawa's in Buffalo tonight. Time for our lock of the day. You can make it quick. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking the Ottawa Senators once again.
I mean, I'm just pulling away with this thing.
I'm catching. I'm gaining ground here. Look at me, 16-12. Is this game in Buffalo?
Mhm.
Yeah, last game. Yeah. I'm taking the Sabres.
Is it a trap game for the Sabres? Where did they play last night? Did they play last night?
No, play the night before.
I was gonna say they played last night, right? Wednesday. No, so they've been sitting there since Tuesday, where
They lost to Seattle on the 9th, Tuesday.
and that game was probably in Seattle because was it in Buffalo?
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking Buffalo. They've been sitting at home.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Honestly, until they win a game, I don't know if I can. I can't. I just can't take them right now. What do you?
Can't trust them. Can't trust them.
No,
But they're going to score. That's the point. They're going to win. They're going to come out of it. They got to beat somebody, and they beat Buffalo on the Christmas Eve New Year's Eve in Ottawa. I think they can do it. Despite
I hope
their
you're right.
4-12 road record.
I'd love to come on Monday and talk about a W.
All right, I'm out of here, Wally.
Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you on Monday. Safe travels, Yorkie. I want to hear all about Madonna. Take care.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.